Welcome to the front page. I'm Peter Gleeson. Tonight we're going to take a look at the front pages across the nation's newspapers, and helping me analyse the big stories is my panel. My usual Wednesday night panel, reporter for the Adelaide Advertiser, Caleb Bond, and columnist. And from Perth, 6PR host, Oliver Peterson. Gentlemen, I said I'd be lost for words tonight, and I really am. We're going to go to the front page of the Courier Mail first up. We know the story that we are going to be talking about tonight, and this has shocked the nation. There's a lot of people affected by this. The headline is unthinkable. Nation in shock as father kills his gorgeous kids and their mum in shocking act of evil. Little Trey there, 3, Alia 6, and Leanna 4. And of course, mum Hannah died just an hour ago. I want to bring up the Telegraph as well, and of course, the Australian horror as dad sets family alight. The Telegraph is the front page headline that I think probably encapsulates my thoughts right now more than anything. You low mongrel. Evil dad burned kids to death. Unfortunately, in this country, we have a crisis in domestic violence, and this is not a one-off. This is happening on an all too frequent basis. And you know, we have royal commissions on many things, but we need a royal commission in this country right now on domestic violence. Because there are women right now who are scared. There are women right now in this country who are in danger. And today, a woman and her 3 beautiful kids lost their lives because of this. I'm going to go straight to you, Ollie. I'm speechless.
Yeah, I can hear that, Gleeso, and I found it really hard as well today. I think we all have found it really hard today as the news filtered through, because it's just very hard to comprehend. You mentioned that this is not an isolated incident. We had something over here on my side of the world in the last couple of years down in Margaret River involving a family and their children as well. And the difficulty I think that we all now see with these particular tragedies is there is so much help out there. There are so many different groups or authorities or specialists who are there when you need a little bit of assistance. You can always call Lifeline. They will pick up the phone. They are there to help you and try and resolve those issues. But what we all struggle to grapple with is just the sheer horror and the detailed explanations of what unfolded in Brisbane today, and neighbours reporting the mother screaming, he's put petrol on me, and hearing those loud explosions, and the reports that have been well documented in all the newspapers that we'll pick up tomorrow and that we've seen here on Sky tonight and we've been talking about on radio throughout the afternoon. It's just something that is pure evil, and it is something, as I say, I cannot comprehend myself, because if I had problems within my own life, that is something that I should not have to take out on my wife or my partner and or then my children. It's just the most selfish, horrible act, what's happened in Brisbane today. And I think your call there about a royal commission, Glee, so I think we have to call these sorts of incidents out, and I know we have to dance carefully around the sensitivity of the nature of these incidents, but we've also got to be strong, and we've also got to call it out, and we just have to make sure that we do all stand up as particularly blokes in this community that you and I and Caleb are, and call out that domestic violence and call out that behaviour by men, because it is not acceptable, and it's doing all Australians a huge disservice. It's just awful. It's horrible. It's good it's affected you in the way it has tonight, Gleeso, because it's affected me. I'm sure it's affected Caleb the same way, and everybody watching us around Australia tonight. But there is help out there. There is assistance, and you just do not need to take this out on anyone else, or particularly on your own family members. Pick up that phone. Give Lifeline, give those particular organisations a phone call, because they are there to help.
Caleb, it's the senselessness, it's the power dynamic, it's the selfishness, you know, it's all those human emotions that I'm going to say normal people just accept that we get through those. You know, we work our way through problems in relationships, but this particular grub had an inability, an immaturity, and a total disregard for human life, where he effectively said to his wife, well, you know, if I can't have the children, you won't have them either. And as I said, this is not an isolated instance. We have a domestic crisis epidemic in this country, and women are being terrorised, and I guess there's some men as well, without question, but predominantly women, and we need to tackle it. You know, Ollie's right, Caleb. We need to somehow, you know, get men involved in trying to, you know, call this sort of shit out.
I've been sitting here all day, much like I think you have, Gleeso, ruminating over the fact that we would have to talk about this tonight, because every time I think about it, I'm just filled with incandescent rage, and I don't quite know how to deal with that. And what makes these crimes so heinous is the fact that your wife and children are meant to be the people who, above all else on the face of this planet, that you love like no one else. And I know you and your wife, and you absolutely adore her as you adore your children. And for you to think about doing something like that, you would run in the other direction, as would any normal, and I know I don't like to use the word normal in this case, but like any normal person, any person with a sane brain would think of something like that and go, my God, I could never ever do that, because it would be to betray that ultimate trust that your spouse and your children put in you, and that is love, unconditional love. And to betray that in this way is possibly one of the worst things a human being can ever do. And wastes of space, like Rowan Baxter, need to be held up in light of cases like this and shown for the scum that they are, the fact that anyone who does this will never, ever be revered by anyone in their life ever again, forevermore, will be known as nothing but a waste of space. And anyone who feels like perhaps they are in danger of something like this happening to them should look at the outpouring of grief and rage that is being shared across the country at the moment, and if they are in this situation, feel like it's their moment to do something about it. Because this isn't an isolated incident, as you say. There are other similar cases. I can't think of any others where a guy has set his children on fire, but Ollie was talking about one in Western Australia. I know we had one here a few years ago in South Australia where a guy drove his car, I believe, off a jetty with his children in it, and they all drowned. There is never any excuse for doing something like that. You know, we all deal with crap in our lives. We have relationships that break down. We have troubles at work or whatever it is. But nobody responds to that by setting their own children on fire. I just cannot contain the rage. I want to use four-letter words and throw something across the room right now, because that's the only way I can think to deal with this. But you are right. Something must be done, because we cannot allow cases like this to happen again. We know they will, but we cannot allow this to happen, because this woman has been failed, these children have been failed. The only good thing in this is that Mr. Baxter himself is dead, because that's exactly what he deserves. I'm an atheist, I don't believe in hell, but for God's sake, right now I wish there was one so he could spend eternity in it, because he should feel pain.
Well said, Caleb Bond. Well said, Oliver Peterson. Let's just hope that something comes out of this.